really where I think we're all aligned here, but sometimes I don't speak about it so frankly, is about how resource flows in our society. And having been a community organizer, I've been in elected office, I've worked for elected officials at congressional and local level, and I've been in business, worked for nonprofits. So I've taken that 30 plus years of experience and consolidated it in. And my entire trajectory was to try to understand why we have oppressed people. It came from my own pain in my own family, seeing my ancestors struggle with minuscule resources and all of the trauma that caused within our family, and coming into this world and trying to understand why are we so callous and uncaring for each other and for our planet, Mother Earth. And just trying to make sense of that. That's been the journey. And so this represents, this is the Oakland tree, since we're in Oakland, oak tree. You'll notice a few things about this. One is our root system is a little pathetic, a little underdeveloped. Our trunk's a little skinny. And our leaves here are a little light, but all the leaves are up at the top where they're stealing all the sunshine and all the resources from the top, the rain. It's all stopping here. A little bit gets through. When you get closer to the bottom, and it's less getting through. And then when you get to the grassroots, you see that resources have sort of, everybody's got their cut, and then people in the community are sort of left to fend for themselves. And this is an unfortunate truth that even within the city government system, as a builder, and I'm trying to build something, and I call my city planners and my building department, and I'm like, hey, it's been a year, where is my application? And then they get angry with me because I dare to, question them. So there's this whole kind of perception that the grassroots, the community, somehow isn't deserving of demanding resources that really are ours collectively. So, so resource flow is primarily up in this scenario. All the laborers, I really enjoy doing contracting work as I get to be out there with my crew and I see the brilliance of them assembling framing or doing finished work, and just how intelligent and how creative and how inspired they are and how hard they work. And for me, it's really honorable and beautiful and noble, the work they do. And I think, when you think about who do we honor in the world, we don't think about the contractors or the teachers or the social workers. We think we honor the soldiers, the ones who are going into battle, and the special ops veterans, and those who are sort of in the military and security forces. We honor them, but the ones who are doing the work of education, and that we sort of forget about them, the ones doing making our food in the kitchen. So resources flow up. They don't come back down in equal measure. The resources that are flowing up, it's decision making. This is literally a threat to our democracy currently, where decision making, which in the form of democracy, is under threat. We know the electoral process needs to be reformed. So there's a lot of decision making that needs to happen at the local level that is not happening at the local level. Information flows up, doesn't come back down as well. We see that in our educational system, which is broken, particularly in communities of color. Revenues flow up and then don't flow back down as they should. Accountability flows up. That is that we are held accountable, but harder to hold corporate America accountable. And then authority, that is the power, the giving away of power flows up. And then finally, trust and faith. We're told to have faith in those with the greatest power, in this case, Elon Musk, for example. But then people don't have faith in us. And we are not empowered to make decisions for ourselves. And it's rare that a community group is assembled to make decisions about how money is spent in their community. And so, so this is the tree where resources flow up and don't come back down as much. But we're going to talk about a different tree today. And this is, you all can't see it, you may want to shift over here. We probably should set at this table, but we're a little bit more centered. So this is the other tree. You'll note here, this is a healthier tree that we see in nature. So that one we don't see too much in nature because nature's too smart. It doesn't play that game. Humans, we're still learning. This is what we see in nature, where we have robust root system. And by the way, all these little colors are these represent rain, minerals, sunshine coming in. And so we'll see that we have a robust root system. By the way, the root system is community in this, so community. And then in the center one, it's nonprofits. This is government here, so I have the root system as community, I have the trunk as kind of the nonprofit sector where a lot of funds get distributed. And then we have government here, which is the canopy lower part, and then we have corporate where all, where many of the revenues and power is currently being held. And so we see in a healthy tree a nice dispersal of leaves where everybody can benefit. We see the resources flowing through, a nice robust trunk, nice robust roots, and resource flows equally in both directions. We realize we're all in this together, and so we have a healthy society. And so in terms of this scenario, we instill our faith and trust in community members that are impacted, for example. So a big grant comes in, how is the community having say in what's happening in their community? What authority do we give to a community to have say in their own decision making? And then the other is decision making, information, revenues, accountability. All of those are distributed in a way where we recognize the importance of collaboration between all of these levels. Okay, so that's the ideal model. And so what does that mean? How does that manifest in reality, in programs? I want to say this part, which is the Green Business Innovation Zone, which was something we talked about. The notes you see up here were just some brainstorming that we had the other day. Desiree, myself, and Farai. And but we also recognize that we have this current effort going on with Alfredo and Tony and all of you have been participating in that, and then I think that seems to be generating a lot of the energy. So we sort of left this with brainstorming, and then you all can talk more about that if you like. But today I wanted to just talk about this program, which really is an attempt to map out the resources and how things could flow in a way where we create this kind of robust tree. Okay, so that's the idea. So here's global urban development, and the reason that I put it at the top is that it's kind of running the program. It's the collaborator, the coordinator, but also the one that ensures that these arrows, which is flow of resources, make it to the bottom. So it's also ensuring that we do effective outreach and education. It's also ensuring that we are pushing for accountability for all of these resources to make their way into the grassroots. So that's what the arrows are. The arrows represent 4 programs, and we talked about some of these. And the numbers, I think I borrowed some numbers from your moonshot. So this is the moonshot vision. 2,000 aging homes renovated and electrified. So there's one program that would be under the moonshot. 2,000 ADUs built in low-income census tracts. There's another moonshot. 2,000 low-income families given financial and rental rental housing provider training. So how to be rental housing providers if they're building ADUs and renting them. And then 100, and it could be more, insert the correct number. 100 Oakland-based minority contractors benefit from this. So we're keeping the resources in our own community. So those are the 4 programs designed to ensure that resources flow down here, including decision-making, which I'll get to shortly, and we talked a bit about it at our other meeting. So what are all these? Again, this is kind of the government level. This is corporate, government, nonprofit, and community. So at the government level, let me back up. The blue is outreach and education. So when you see these blue ones, that's because they are identified as providing outreach and education across these 4 project areas. The green, and it's not exclusive, there may be many more organizations out there, but I just wanted to pinpoint some that I'm aware are already doing this work that we could collaborate with, pull in under a bigger vision, and then collaborate. Okay, so there's funding sources, that's the green. There's risk management, which if we're doing construction project becomes very important. And if we're doing rental housing, then that becomes important as well. risk management does, and then finally training and support. So who's offering training and support in this scenario? Okay. So that's what the different colors are. So if we just take one slice, let's say it's the 2,000 aging homes renovated and electrified. And so we're gonna write a big proposal for whomever to fund. This is the goal, and the goal is to do renovations in low to moderate income census tracts with families that reside in these census tracts and to benefit minority contractors. Okay, so who does this? City of Oakland already has a home renovation program. It's small, but it already exists. Systems are already in place. They could participate in some funding, and we can figure out how to amplify their funding. Alameda County, we could support them in expanding some of their programs to also do this. So the funding sources. Community Bank of the Bay, we've been in dialogue with them about funding some of these types of efforts. And then this one is Pacific Community Ventures, Robin, and they are interested in making low interest loans to contractors to support this kind of effort. So these are funding sources for this specific kind of effort. And then education and outreach. Now we're talking about ECAP, EDAP, City of Oakland, that's where they're in the government row. And then we have NAMAC, National Association of Minority Contractors. They can do outreach and education. Oakland Builders Alliance, we can do education and outreach to our own members. We have neighborhood crime prevention councils, very much out in the streets of Oakland, already integrated with community. City council offices can help us with that. So those are some of the partners there. In terms of risk management, like how do we make sure that funds that flow into the community that flow for these, the contractors are only charging for what work that's been done. This is what we do as a company, but we don't need to be the one chosen. But there's people who do what we do, which is funds control, which mitigates risk out in the field. And then the last one here is training and support. We have Construction Resource Center, that's Lana Turner's group. We have Rising Sun that's doing training. We have Stopways that's doing training. So what we see here is we already have things in place to do this. We need better coordination, hence global urban development. We need to make sure there's accountability so resources flow all the way down, global urban development. And I think GUD can also help with outreach and education on all of this. So that's that particular pillar, if you will, or arrow. Same thing with 2,000 ADUs built in low-income census tracts. And by the way, you all said dream big because it's a moonshot, so hence 2,000, not 200. Same thing here, funding for ADUs. The county, the city, Oakland Housing Authority, federal government, nonprofit lenders. By way of example, we have Eagle County, Colorado that has a 1% loan for low-income communities to build ADUs. And I think it's up to 150,000. There's no reason why the city and county of Oakland can't collaborate to create a $200,000 loan, low interest loan, up to build ADUs, and then it would provide a lot of extra housing. ECAP, EDAP again is Outreach Citizens Foundation, which is pretty well. They're kind of an organization in the Fruitvale that's most deeply connected into community. So you get organizations like Unity Council, that's a little bit more disconnected from community. They just build a lot of affordable housing. They do offer services, but it's not as deeply into the trenches of community, if you will, whereas Citizens Foundation is known as that organization where people are literally out there talking to people in the streets and supporting them. And there's others, so this is an example. Black Cultural Zone, and again, Neighborhood Crime Prevention Council, City Council offices can do some of the outreach as well. And then same thing with risk management. We do risk management, others do risk management, and then training and support. I guess not a lot of training and support here because we already have CRC here to do training and support for building ADUs. So that's the arrow for ADUs. Here's an ADU, here's a home to remodel, here's an ADU, here's the family that's going to become more financially trained to be more financially sustainable in terms of income. In my mind, like, we have a lot of single parents or grandmothers that are supporting family and can use the support of additional income, hence being able to rent an ADU to get additional income. But it also has to come with the training and support to know how to manage a rental unit if they've never done it before. And so that's where this comes in. So ideally, there would be overlap between the ADU and the people renting the ADUs so that they could become long-term beneficiaries of a rental unit. It also increases the value of their property, so that wealth then is transferable. One of the biggest challenges in America is that you get 10, 15 generations of wealth transfer, and the inequality that it creates for people who have never had access to wealth. And then suddenly you have people that are millionaires by birth and people who are in debt by birth. And that's something that as a society we should try to figure out, and this is an opportunity to do that. And then finally, the last one is 100 open-based minority contractors. Idea is that these minority contractors, including Ogrina, are helping build, remodel, and support the families in all of this. So figuring out a way to train up the minority contractors to do electrification, to do the testing for insulation and the efficiency of homes and ADUs and remodels. All of that is needed, and so we can get funds perhaps from EDD, Pacific Community Ventures. We can get training from Construction Resource Center. This is the union's, I don't remember what it stands for, but this is Central Labor Council's, the
Construction Trades Workforce Initiative.
Thank you, yes. Rising Sun, Stop Waste, Emerald Cities, all of these train contractors. We want to sort of bring that more into Oakland and get more minority contractors in there, because what we've had largely is, which is good, workforce development for unions. That's been the focus, but what we're leaving out is training of minority contractors to also benefit from the work that's being created. Just by way of example, there is an effort right now that all electrification, any money coming in for electrification that has public dollars associated with it, would have to be union shops, which would cut out most of these folks. So it's just, you know, looking at the perhaps injustice of that and carving out maybe anything under $1 million stays for minority contractors. Everything above that, then there's a conversation to be had. So this is the vision. And again, to reiterate big things that global development would do: help raise money, ensure resources are flowing down, so accountability, that we're not getting most of the money stuck either here or here, which happens a lot. We see that, and then it doesn't quite flow out into here. And also coordination and collaboration of all this as one big moonshot program.